So as soon as I uploaded a video showing you guys some things I've been working on in Machine, I've gotten a question, actually two questions since then, and I kind of wanted to address that. And these things that I'm going to address, you guys that has been following me for quite some time, you've already heard me address these situations, but I'm gonna do another one specific to this because I believe that information may have gotten lost in some of the long videos. So I'm guilty. I do long videos, and you guys love it. But anyway, so basically the question was how to move notes around using the controller itself. So as you guys can see, I am using the Machine Studio, but it's not limited to that. If you have the MK1, the MK2, the micro version, or doesn't matter what color machine you have, it all works the same. They all the same thing. Now the Jam, however, I'm not really sure how that works. I don't have one. I can't really speak for that. But anyway, this is the Machine 2.0 or 2.5.6 update here that we are working from. So you guys will begin to see some things that happened a little bit different from the usual workflow. So basically, I'm going to create something from scratch. But before we do that, there's a few things you need to know. You need to know, you need to understand resolutions, right? So most of the times, just by default, opening the machine, I have mine set by default to lock into the 1/16 resolution. And basically what that is, if you, okay, one, two, three, four, one, two. So those are your beats, and those are considered quarter notes, right? So quarter note is your one, your two, your three, and four. Eighth notes are beats in between, or it kind of double up. So I'm trying to explain this the best way I know how, so you guys can kind of get the picture. So if we was to go here to our event section here, and no, I'm sorry, grid. Okay, start out the video wrong. If we go to grid, a lot of times, well, for what we're trying to do, we will need to go ahead and toggle over to step. And like I say, mine's by default says 1/16, right? So then 1/16 say if eight notes are one and two and three and four and one and two, you know what I mean? It's like your ands between your numbers. Then 16s are your is half of that. It speeds up. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2. You know what I'm saying? So now you got quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then you got your 16s, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? And then your 32s, I don't need to go into that. I can't even go that fast, but that's even like double that. And then you got 64s. That's double that, if you understand that. But mainly what you need to understand is the resolution. And so let's just create something right quick. Now, what Machine does, it acts just like NPC, and this is one of the reasons why NPCs are lovely. Back when I started out on NPCs, it did this thing where it automatically locks your beat in place. It locks the loop in place. You don't have to go back and quantize anything unless you turn it off. So in this situation, a lot of times, the only time you will cut it off, like your resolution, there's an off button here. The only time I really turn it off is when I'm inputting piano sounds. I did a video on this. When you put in piano sounds, maybe strings, it just really depends, even guitar, to make it human, to make it authentic. You know what I'm saying? Keep the true human feel, like a real, guitarist played it, you would turn this off. Or, in hip hop, you will actually articulate certain things that you're trying to do. And it just really depends on what you're doing. So for this example, let's also visit the if I was to hit shift record, right? This is also the area where you will adjust your volume on your metronome. So if your metronome is too loud, you can turn it up and down here. Then your 1/4 time, and you can set your time in here, which is again set for the metronome here. And then you can say auto record, which means it's gonna auto record. Or is this only off and on here? So just leave that like that. Right here is your count in. This sets the bar between your counters. I have it set to 1 bar. I can get to the what I'm doing a lot quicker but you may prefer 2 bars or 4 bars before you really get into it. That's up to you. I don't like to wait that long. And then right here to the right on the right screen, there's this thing called Quantize, right? And I have mine set to record. And then there's another option that says play and record. So I'm thinking that's like it will quantize, I guess, after you play it, or I really don't understand. I just go with the record. I'm just gonna keep it like that. I go with the record, or there is a none. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't mess with that. I would just leave it at record, which means as you record what you're doing, it locks immediately in place. And so let's go, and I'm gonna show you exactly what that means. So we're gonna also visit the some of the sounds that came with the 2.5 version, and as soon as everything wakes up. So I'm in the sample section. Actually, let's go over to groups. That way, when we load something, everything will load at the same time. So we're in the group section, and I'm gonna go all the way to my Maschine here, and then we're gonna search for kits. So I'm gonna go for 808 kits here, and everything, right? Okay. But if I needed to search for this using my mouse here, let's do that manually. So you just, I believe it's the sound here. No, yeah, this is the group, and then this is the samples, and then when you go to sounds or this is all instruments. I believe in all these sections there are some updates here. You can look for a Maschine and go for 2.5, but in this case, we're gonna go for all groups here, and then all I need to do here is click here and then go for Maschine, and then what I'm gonna do here is click the down arrow here and then go for 2.5 library, and here are all the new sounds or libraries, or in this case, all the groups that were added here. And I already have some favorites, which is cool. So you can hit this button here, and it will just only highlight what you have favorited. So if I go for a kit like this, say for instance, and by the way, if you want to favorite something, all you have to do is go to the side of here, the right of the browser, I guess, and then hit this button here, and it will favorite for you. Or if you are in the controller itself, what you have to do is hit Shift. You make sure you are in Browse, and then you'll see where it says Set Favorite at the top, and you just click that in and it favorite for you, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's go. Right, so I'm gonna go here, send. I'm gonna go group, turn the whole group down here. Now the other thing is setting the velocity level, or your fixed velocity. Right now is a sensitive level, and I like using that a whole lot. Again, keeping that human feel. So I'll do something like, you know what I mean, like that. You know what I mean? That's I'm a drummer, so that's kind of the background I'm coming from. But if you are like a lot of the producers or beat makers out here, you're probably going to go for fixed velocity, which means no matter how hard or soft or how loud you hit the pads, it will always hit fixed velocity, which is 127, the loudest possible. And I use that, I use that quite often as well. But anyway, we're going to turn the group down just a tad bit. And we're going to just create something, right? So now what we're going to do here is, in this case, say that my Quantize, okay, is already off. And then I go and say, right now, this is me actually inserting or producing and putting notes in without the Quantize at all. So it didn't quantize. Is just out there, as you can see on my screen here. So basically, you have it's just freehanded, pretty much, But if you don't want to do that, the way to do that is to fix that, you have to go to your event section here on, and I can't remember exactly what the buttons are if you was to do this on the MK1 or MK2. But if you can just follow along, with what I'm saying, I'm not even really sure that my camera angle here is clear. But basically, you have to go to events, and then in events you can actually make it bigger, and that's just how it is on the Maschine Studio. So I'm not really sure what you guys will actually see, but I can see that everything here is I can pretty much see everything. So I have this window and I have this window, and then what I have to do next is hit all, and basically it highlighted everything. But I have to go and make sure that my resolution is set. So we're gonna go 1/16. In this case, 1/16 is great. But if I want to go and narrow down to where I want it more so precise, quantize, then I'll have to go to 1/8, if that makes any sense. So in this case, so the tempo is 1, 2, 3, and then when I was on, so everything is falling in the eighth note, so 1/8. So technically, I can actually go to 1/8. So we just set our resolution for 1/8, and that's just to make it tighter. You know what I mean? But if you're doing anything outside of the 1/8, then you probably need to boost the resolution to 1/16. That way that it can pick that up. So basically, let's quantize that here. Let's get out of browse mode and go back into events. Well, all of my notes are already selected, so let's go for it. You know what I mean? Now that's 1/8 notes, but actually I was doing things in the 1/16th RAM. So you know what I mean? So basically those were 16, so that wouldn't work. So let's undo that. Then I need to go back to groups, and that's, if you guys are doing this and it sounds funny, that's because you select the wrong resolution. So now let's quantize this. Now let's see. That's more so like it, right? But there's an extra note in there that I don't care for. Again, because I was asked to do this, everything from the machine itself, the control itself. We're going to go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go back into my events here. I don't want to do that. I want to right? So then I'll have to go back here. I'm going to hit none to deselect all of everything I was doing. And so now what I can do is use this cursor tool here and just, manually find what I want to adjust. Right? So I found the note that I want to actually delete, and I select it. You can do it like this and then hit clear. Right? So we're going to go with that. All right. So the next step I'm going to show you guys is how to, we're going to go a little further, like adding piano and things like that, and how to move around notes if you're using, chords, because it's not that hard. It's just a little bit more involved than just going to, an actual note, selecting an actual note. So we're going to go to another group, and then at this point we're going to go for an instrument, and let's go for piano just for the sake of the video. We're going to make it simple. We're going to go for piano. We are currently in 4 bars, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. So that's the bar length that I have currently. So by default is 4 bars here. Let's add that there. Or I could have just started recording. It would automatically. So there's 4 bars here, and so now I have a piano. Now at this point, I'm not a piano player. But I love using my 49 key piano, right? Or 25 if I'm limited, traveling mobile type deal. But there are some of you guys that don't have that ability. You just like doing everything from the machine, which is not a problem. So the cool thing about this is actually being able to articulate your progressions and notes, melodies, or whatnot, just using the pads here, which is pretty awesome because before you would have to position your fingers, and then you would have to go to pad mode and then go octave and blah blah blah. First, you got to be in keyboard mode, so that's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna activate the harmonizer or the chord set. Let's turn that down. Or let's go chord set. And the cool thing about this is I can go major 2. You know what I mean? I can just do whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? And if I need to change, let's see. If I need to change, I can also access the arpeggiator from here. So then it would be you know what I mean? Change the resolution, but that's not really what we're doing right now. So we're going to get out of that. But basically, that's just, an idea of what you can do with the, pads, and if you want to. So that's how you change notes right there. Right, so it's a semitone here, plus and minus sign. Then you got your octaves. But for the type of beat that we are doing, I'm thinking we probably need to go to minor. So, say for instance, again, because I'm showing you guys how to quantize with, how to manually quantize with this off. If that's what you, but see, I don't understand why you would do that. I would rather just turn on the the quantize, and everything is locked. So let me show you that. So if everything is already quantized, and let me show you how cool this is. It just does it for you. It just, like, the workflow is fast, but I get it. Sometimes it just depends on what you're doing, because I do it sometimes too. So 2, 3. Right, that sounds pretty good. That's decent to me. But let's go to events, and we're gonna move that specific, that set of note right there. The second time I did that, I want to kind of move that more so on the 1.3 beat grid there. So the way you do that is you can actually there's a selection tool here. You have your start, and then you have your end, and then you have your notes here. You have your start and end again. So your low and your high. So that means you can actually select different notes in between what you're doing. So, say like you actually playing the piano, you have a board that you have laid out, and the way you played it, you may have hit a couple of notes a little bit before, and you want to kind of, like, clean it up, trim it down, or, kind of tighten it up or whatever. This is the way you do it. You have to go low and high and kind of like select, your note range here. And that's how you would get the different. And then you just, kind of use this tool here, your in, and just, what I mean, and kind of get what you need. But in this case, I want to actually move that whole chord there. And so in this case, instead of using your nudge tool, well, actually, we'll still be using the nudge tool. Okay. Oh, actually, that's two. Right. So we brought it back. And here's another great tip for, like, say like this, I feel like that's too short. I need to make the length come out a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do here is go to my step mode here, and then I'm gonna go for my length here. So you got position, you got pitch, then you got fixed velocity, and then I have length. So we're gonna just extend the length here. Let's see what happens. Right? So you can do it like that as well. Now, if I need to move the notes, say that if I go back to events, I'm going to select none, and then kind of like move this here so that we can select that again. But I want to just move like maybe the middle note or whatever. Or I can always use this here. If this works for you, where you have to toggle all the way, say your notes are all the way down here and you got like 8 bars going, that can be very annoying. So basically what you're going to do here is just kind of move your start and end points here, and then I'm going to go and try to select the other ones, and then we're going to take the highs down and say I want to move this note. It may sound weird, but at this time, now we use the note button, and now we can move up and down. Let's see. Right, so that sounds a whole lot better. So what I did was I moved my third note, my third note there, and moved it down, and all from the controller itself, which is dope, right? Also, another cool feature is that even if you don't want to quantize everything and have everything locked in the grid here, you can also have access to the 50% quantize. So if I hit shift, it activates my 50% here. Now, if you are on a MK1, if I can remember correctly, most of everything live underneath the pads here. And so most of the times you will have to hit shift to access that stuff. But I believe there is like a 100% quantize, and then there's like a 50% quantize like right next to it or something like that. I can't really remember. But that's one way you can do things. There's another question that I wanted to address before I end this video. And basically, there was a gentleman that was asking me if I can actually show how to group stuff. So basically, the concept with Maschine is not really like your normal DAW, where you can, just have a bunch of stuff going on, and then you can go to each channel and specifically say what bus you want that to come out of. You know what I mean? To gain, the whole purpose of having a bus or auxiliary channel is to have control of a grouped amount of instruments or whatnot. And in Studio One, which is the DAW I use quite frequently, it's I can pack instruments, you know what I mean? And so it becomes a folder, but it becomes an advanced folder once I give it a bus. I can actually bus every. So a lot of times I'm grouping my drums together. But in Maschine, you have to have you gotta kind of think ahead of the game. So if you want drums bus, you have to kind of pick and say, okay, I want my group A to be nothing but my drums, and then I want my group B to be nothing but my keys or my keyboard and my strings, and then my bass action here. You know what I mean? So you have to already be thinking ahead of the game. So if that's the case, then what we need to do, if I'm adding compression, then basically what I need to do here is come up here to the top, and then there's a plug-in button here, and then there's a channel button. So you need to make sure that you're on the channel button, and then you have to actually toggle over to the group here. And then you obviously make sure that, because if you have something here, you have to go to an empty slot in order to add another plugin or effect or whatever the case may be. And same for sounds. If you have a specific sound, say I wanted to add compression or reverb on top of that, you just have to make sure that nothing is there. And I'm just looking at everything. Okay, so not channel. Channel is something different. I'm sorry. It's going to be plug-in. So just I don't know. Plug-in is self-explanatory right there. So you're going to be in plug-in, right? Channel is going to be how you're going to do the next step. I'm going to explain just in a moment. So if we are in plug-in, the plug-in button here, what we're going to do here is, see, I have a reverb on this already. So the rule of thumb is, if I want to add compression to this, I'll have to actually toggle over to where it says empty. You understand what I'm saying? That way you won't accidentally insert a plugin on top of what you already have. So you want to pay attention to that, right? Because if you are in the sample, you can actually replace the sample, and then you'll be looking around the room like, what the hell just happened? And you don't want to get to that point. You know what I mean? That's just going to frustrate you. You know what I mean? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are toggled over to an empty slot, and then go to your browse, and then go to your effects here, and then add whatever effects that you're looking to add. But in this case, we're going to go for a group. So say, for instance, there's a bunch of stuff on this group already, by the way. Let me show you guys on the screen here so you can see. There's a bunch of stuff, and that's because this is a grouped kit here. So this already has a bunch of stuff on it. So this is pretty much a great idea as to what's available and what you can do. You know what I mean? But say I wanted to add something else, and I'm gonna show you just how to do that. So I go over to browse and say I want to add another compressor to that. Why not, right? I can actually grab this solid bus compression here and just add it to the gang. Bam, and here we go. And so now we're compressing the entire group. So you know what I'm saying? Right? Sounds crappy. At first it sounded good, then it, whatever. But that's how you do that, right? So, as far as the group stuff. Now, here's another trick that I have to show you guys. Again, I've done this before in several videos, but say, for instance, that you want to create a reverb or something like that, and you have several instruments in, one group, and then you have something in another group, and you all wanted to share the same reverb. You can do that. And so one of the tracks that I did, I had shared a reverb. I can actually go to any plugin. As a matter of fact, I could be in a plugin like within this here. Like if I made this my piano, a lot of times I'll do that like in the drum section. Like all of this wouldn't be filled, and I might use 15 and 16 for processing or you know what I mean? Like I will do that a lot of times, but what you could do as well is just go to a specific plugin or specific group, and nope, we're gonna come out of that, and I'm gonna go ahead and relabel that as a reverb, right? And in this case, I'm still on group. See, everything you do, you have to kind of watch for it. So what I need to do is actually go to sounds, and then go to browse, and then I'm gonna search for my reverb plugin, which is a RC48 or the 24, whichever one I find first. 48, that's the winner. So say I go air vent, okay, that's my reverb. Now keep in mind, this is just only you adding an effect here. It's not a sound, but you just downloaded reverb, and let me show you that. So there's a reverb here on the screen. So that's what you have in this section here on this specific pad. So now I can go to my kit here. Say I want a little reverb on this snare. Okay, I just want to make sure that this is what I what I was using. Now I want to come in and actually make sure that um, my snare, all of the volume is coming at the same time, because it sounded like the volume was decreasing. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go to step the same step I showed you guys just a few minutes ago. And what I'm gonna do here, go to step mode, then I'm gonna go to fixed velocity, and then I'm gonna raise it all up all the way to 27. At first it wasn't at 127 for some reason. So so I'm raising everything up. Okay, that's the compressor. Okay, so that's the compressor doing what it's doing, and I just want to make sure. So anyway, we're gonna come out of that, but anyway, let's say the snare, and I can actually go back here to we'll go to groups and deactivate this, hit shift bypass, so that we are not affected by this. We're gonna turn the whole group down. So these buttons here, as you guys see me, kind of going between them, this is for your master volume. This is for your groups. This is for your sound. So whatever pad you're on, you can actually turn it down from here, or you can go to your mix window. So we can see everything. The only thing about this is that, like, you can only see 8 at a time, and so if if you're down at the anything between 1 and 8, you'll see right here. But you have to actually go from 9 to 16, and then you will see that next set of 8 right here in your mixer window. But a quick workflow for me is, if I need to adjust a volume or something like that, I'll just go to sound here and adjust my sound from there and keep going. You know what I mean? That just works for me. Big ups to Native Instruments. They actually added the meters here. I discussed that before. So like if I go to pad mode, you can actually see the meters kind of jumping out. Now my snare is too low. Oh, that's the wrong sound. So my piano was way too loud. Okay, so let's go back. I've been trying to show you guys how to do this. Okay, so this is the snare that I want to adjust. So what you have to do now, you have to go to channel here. All right, so now you go to channel, and then you toggle over. Right now it says audio. You want to leave everything in group because that's how you want to do it. Then I'll toggle over to where it says auxiliary. Okay, you have 2 different auxiliaries that you can come out of, and that's the only limitation that you have. 2 auxiliaries. So for auxiliary 1, what I'm going to do here is turn my knob here until I see C1 S1, which is the reverb, and it actually will say reverb right there. All right, and the reason being is because we actually added that reverb into bank C or group C here, and it's pad 1. So that's what we see. So okay, so we can see it. Now the trick is, when you are playing around with the settings and the parameters or whatnot for the reverb, you have to actually be in the C bank. You can't control it from the A bank, where the snare is. You have to actually have to be here. And what I have to do, the other thing I forgot to do was actually turn it up. So I have to go back here, turn it up, because the level was low. Now let's turn it completely down. Now the reason why we will do an aux instead of actually sending it, from the audio, is because we want the dry signal to still come out of the group, but we just want to send. We want to just add reverb, and this will be the same process for adding anything else, any other sounds within wherever they live on your in your system, and it just everything will access that reverb. So now we go back to the reverb here. We're going to play around with the actual sound itself, So I'm gonna go to plugin, and then we're gonna actually, I think I want to go for another preset or something like that. So we're gonna go to browse here and say we go for, I don't know, I wanted to kind of drastically make a change, a difference. There we go. Now, I guess I'm showing you guys how cool this reverb is, right? This is really cool. Right? So say we go for something like that. And now to turn that down, you know, that is way too much, right? So we have to actually go back to the snare, and then we can control how much we send like that. So now I could turn my snare back up because I turned it way down because it was coming through too much. So this is my dry signal. Actually, it's too much. I'm gonna leave it right there. I just think my snare is coming in too faint. But another way we can actually, like, what I would do is if a sound is not coming in hot enough the way I want it, what I would usually do is come here, and there is a like built-in compressor, you know, in the sampler area. And you can actually see it on the screen as I adjust the compressor here. I can turn up the drive. Right. Right. Give it that more compressed sound, and plus it kind of boosts the volume as well. And then I'm gonna go back to my channel and turn down the level. Right. So let's do something like that. And for something like this, I don't really like fixed velocity. So a lot of times what I would do is actually go to my pad mode and turn on 16 velocity. Something like that. 2, 3, 4. Right. So everything I just inserted just now, these are considered 16 notes. I have 16s already, and everything quantized immediately. This is just a faster workflow. So what I'm gonna do here is just turn that down, go to my mix, and then hit my arrow here and kind of pan it. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I also, let's get out of keyboard mode. Wait a second. Let's come out of here. Let's go back over. Let's go to pad mode. Here we go. I think this is what we use. No, we use this one. So I want to send this one to that reverb. So again, auxiliary 1, let's go to C1, S1, because that's where the reverb is, right? Right? So now I can turn it down. Right? And that's pretty much how you can use groups. But this pad can be anywhere. This pad or this reverb can be here in your drums or here. It doesn't matter. It's just the main thing is that when you go here to channels, it's gonna highlight where you want to send anything to, so you can send stuff anywhere you want. You know what I mean? You have a bunch of these things that you can send stuff to. So, you know, the sky's the limit, guys. You can do whatever you need to. So, it really doesn't matter. Say I want to send this piano there as well. Right? So, once again, and if you just need to control the reverb in whole, again, you can just go here, back to mix. You hit this back button to get the group, where you could turn it up and down here. You hit the enter button to get to your mix, and then you can just kind of, you have to toggle here to get to your painting. I gave you guys way more information than I was supposed to. The original question was, how do you edit your notes, and then how to group stuff and send stuff to effects and whatnot. So I hope I was very informational, and you guys took a lot from this. This is your boy Kevin Ellup, and I'm signing out. Music is art. You're the artist. Paint your picture. Don't forget to visit the website artofsound.university. And we have many courses there that will do pretty much the same thing as I'm doing now, but those are more so in-depth courses. All right. See y'all later.